Good evening, Danvers. Welcome to the Topics of the Town News. I am Mark Zubrek, your host, and I have some great candidates for our elections coming up in Danvers. And we have today Michael Bean, who is running for the Senate seat.
Representative.
No, you're the representative.
Yeah.
And Damien Anketel is for the Senate in the state. And Tony Betancourt is my standby all the time. So welcome, Tony.
Keep an eye on everybody. Make sure everybody's okay.
Welcome to our local broadcast. This program is providing a forum for our guests, resident commentators, and meant for Danvers residents. The agenda and opinions are solely by the Topics of the Town host, guests, and commentators. I have a saying that I've been using lately, and let me just go into it. The spread of socialism, communism, starts when people are silenced. Free speech is the first freedom citizens lose. Censorship is our enemy. The best way we know to combat this is to continue to report the truth. We must overcome the censorship that has impeded our frank discussions. So today we have two of our local candidates for the state wide office, state regional office. And what we want to do is just go through the current candidates that are coming on board. What I have is a first clip, which is basically a clip that I've used in the past, but this includes most of the contenders of the Democratic contenders, the Republican contenders to the seats that are being occupied right now by Democrats. And one of the things I want to bring up is that I have been searching for people to come on the show to debate or discuss the candidacies for our offices for the state Senate and for the state House of Representatives. However, it has been deemed necessary by all of the Democratic candidates to shun away from debate because they don't want to expose any fraction of what they stand for. So today I'm bringing you two of the candidates for our office, and what I want to do is, this is the midterm election, and this is for federal Congress office, two state, one for representative, one for Senate, and a governor race that has been promoted in the past, and I will get into that. But I wanted to do is show the next clip, which is a collage of information that I've been gathering on my dining room table. And I just put this together and took a picture, and look at all of the information that's being sent out to the general public, but nobody wants to talk in person. So I have been looking for some candidates to express their views. So let's go first to a presentation that was made at Bob May's candidacy for the House of Congress.
For Congress. Yep, 6th District.
Congress, 6th District, and that is the current seat occupied by Seth Moulton. And that is a clip that I just wanted to show there, Jack. And this is just a small version of how many people have turned up to some of these functions that are being held, whether it's in Swampscott, Lynn, Lawrence, Danvers especially. This particular one is from the Salem Country Club, I believe. And also, what we want to do is start off with a presentation of our highest office in the state of Massachusetts. We have the governor's race, and Jeff Deal and Leah Cole Allen are running for that position. Currently, Jeff Deal has been promoting his candidacy all over the state, and we have some information that has been sent out to us, but he has been concentrating on different areas of the state, and we have Leah Cole Allen, who is a local Danvers resident who's running for lieutenant governor, and she has not been available for debate or comment, but she is our own candidate for lieutenant governor. So we have that, and then we have another clip of a sign holding that was held recently. And the sign holding, can you just increase that size of the sign holding? There we go. I hope that improves. You can't do it. Okay. Then what we want to do is make sure that Mr. Deal and Miss Allen have equal representation on this presentation. So now that we have gone through the governor's race, we have the Secretary of State race, which I have been following through different channels, through Newburyport and through the Seth Moulton presentation that was held. But I have a little clip that I'd like to show of Rayla Campbell, and she is a candidate for the Massachusetts Secretary of State office, and she has been running very hard to get attention and get to be elected to that office. So if we can show that little clip, that'll be great.
The following advertisement is not endorsed by WCVB or Hearst Television Incorporated. Under federal law, WCVB is obligated to
Now,
wear
this
the
is
following
borrowed
ad
from
without censorship. Please be advised the ad contains language and/or
and
images that viewers may
we
find
can run the
offensive.
clip.
Do you want your children reading child pornography? Of course you do. So why are books like this available in our public libraries? Books with sex acts and foul language have become available at our children's fingertips. Vote on November 8th and let's fight this fight together to save our children. My name is Rayla Campbell. I'm running for Secretary of State of Massachusetts, and I approve this message.
Rayla Campbell has been a very outspoken supporter of changing the rules of what is being taught in our schools. I had an opportunity to reflect on the SEL presentation that I have forwarded to the audience, and she has been very explicit about her support for what she wants to do. So that's one Secretary of State candidate. Mr. Galvin is the opposing incumbent Secretary of State, and he's been there for 20-some years.
22.
22. So he is embedded in the establishment of our state legislature and our state government. Next item I have is, and this goes to our friend here, Damien Ancatel, and I have a little campaign clip that I like to show right now, and then we'll hear from Damien in regard to what is his candidacy, what do you want to do, how do you want to do it, and when you do, what are you going to do at the time when you get elected? So,
Hi, I'm Damian Anketel. I'm running for state senate in the 2nd Essex District. The CDC just announced that they are going to add the COVID-19 vaccine to the vaccine schedules for all students attending public schools. What this means for the people of the Commonwealth is if your child is attending a public school, they are going to be mandated to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The Commonwealth does have a law on the books that requires us to follow all guidance by the CDC. Just 2 weeks ago, the CDC announced they are aware that the COVID vaccine does not stop the transmission of the disease, nor does it stop or prevent someone from getting the disease. So I ask you, what is the purpose of this mandate? This governmental and regulatory overreach at the expense of personal liberties and parental rights is a major reason why I am running for office. As your next state senator, I will fight to repeal any law that ties us to the CDC or any other regulatory agency's guidance and replace it with a law that will allow us to assess each issue individually, restoring the rights of parents to make decisions for their children rather than the government making important decisions for them. On November 8th, I ask you to please consider voting for me, Damian Anketel, to be your next state senator. Thank you, and God bless you.
very good presentation, and I appreciate it. Now, what I'd like to do is have you, Mr. Anketel, or Senator Anketel, that'll be a good sign in the future.
Well, I'll be back here to have a conversation with you once I get elected.
Well, then make that a promise, and we'll do that.
It's a promise.
So here you go. Here's your opportunity to present your case to the general audience that we have.
All right. Well, as it said in the video, a major purpose or a major reason why I'm running is I see this massive increase in governmental authority and the cost of government at the expense of our personal liberties and our prosperity. And what I'm doing, and the reason why I'm running, is to restore those personal liberties and to restore prosperity back to our community by eliminating certain regulations, certain rules, the CDC mandates, the vaccine mandates in our community, allow parents to start making decisions in the school systems, and also stop the burdensome regulations and spending of the government. As we see today, a bill just went in front of the Beacon Hill today to expand a $3 billion spending bill on a lot of graft and a lot of extra spending. And what that spending does is it increases inflation on us. And that inflationary increases also have mandated increases in spending. So it creates its own circular inflationary spiral. So increase the spending in automatic inflationary expenditures coming from that inflationary pressures will just keep spiraling up and up and up. One of the things that I laugh at is our legislature voted just 2 years ago to tie their pay raises to inflation. And at the same time, they created regulations and rules that put inflationary pressures onto our community so that they automatically get pay raises twice a year. What I will do is I will go in there, I will stop all the extra spending like this $3 billion bill that they just passed, which really isn't tied to any concrete need. No infrastructure bills, it's not creating schools or doing anything like that. It's just transgender or green initiatives or regulations to pull away from parental rights. It doesn't really help our community. It is more of a handout to lobbyists and special interest groups. And that's one of the things that I'd like to do.
Isn't part of this bill, and I've been familiar with some of it, part of it is the money that has been dedicated by the federal government, which is our tax money, and now they found a way how to spend it. And the thing is that all it is spend, and inflate, and you know, get the prices up higher and higher, and the wages up higher and higher as well. So the thing is that you know, this sort of runs across the Rayla Campbell's message that she was talking about SEL, which is you know, a Board of Education imposed activities that are being taught in our schools, but they're also being legislated through our elected officials who are able to find a way to spend the money that's being given to them from our tax revenues, federal tax revenues.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you have to really watch out on this bill that just got passed was it's going to truly affect our costs on food. What there's a provision in there that they want to give money to what they call equity in agriculture. So what that does is actually ties regulation, creates a bureau that has an ability to create regulations that I don't want to say devastate, but hinder our agricultural providers, our food providers, our farmers. It stops them from being able to be as efficient and as effective as possible, which creates a surplus, decrease in the amount of food that they can provide and produce in a year. And that is it's something that they've been working on, trying to push probably for the last 4 years or 5 years now. And over the last 2 years, year and a half, they've been able to get some real hard regulations in. And you're starting to see the effect of that now in the grocery store. And my opponent, Joan Lovely, has been an advocate for this pressure against our food sourcing. And you know, one of the reasons why we're seeing high cost in the grocery stores because of the support that she has for these policies.
This bill and some of the activities that are happening with the legislature are a dictator type organization that is going to have government control what's being grown, what's being you know, manufactured, what's being sold in our society. And this is, again, goes back to my original statement that the spread of socialism, communism starts when people are silenced. And free speech is the first freedom citizens lose. So what we need to do is we need to continue to express our views, and then we have to throw the bums out so they can't control us as much as they do. So anything else would you like to say?
No, but you did mention that about the possibility of debates and things like that happening. I have reached out to my opponent's campaign. They are reluctant to return the call. We did have a forum set up at Salem State College, but at the last minute, she actually bowed out of it and sent a candidate, not a candidate, a stand-in for her, who is the state senator for the city of Lynn, in the Lynn area. And he came in and sat down, and you know, he's a very nice man, but I wasn't able to get you know, I have an opponent in this race who's unwilling to sit with me and have a conversation. And I do know her very well. I've known her for years. I went to school. We went to the same school together, same program together at Salem State College. And I've known her forever. I used to deliver her newspapers, but it's unfortunate that she's not willing to sit in front of people and have that conversation.
So what we need to do is on November 8th, which is this coming Tuesday, vote for Damian Anquetil as the next senator from our district.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next candidate we have here with us today is Michael Bean, and he's not even on the
ballot.
on the ballot at all, because he ran as a write-in in the primary. And Michael, just give us a little history of what happened during that campaign, because everybody was happy to see somebody go against Sally Kearns. And Sally has been around for many, many years in different functions. And Sally has, produced very little in the last 4 years, I think. She's been in office now for 4 years. And give us a little breakdown of what actually happened.
So I decided last minute to get involved just before the September 6th primary. And when I say last minute, I mean Friday,
Right.
before the Tuesday vote. I notified Jim Morose, who's running the Danvers Town Republican Party, and he notified the town clerk, who I believe notifies the state. But it was over the weekend and the holiday weekend. So I then set up a table. We got some, made some copies of a a banner and whatnot, and I stood out there in the rain with a bunch of people, and we needed to get 150 votes to get on the ballot. And so we did get 157 votes. However,
The Secretary of State.
yeah, there was a procedural form that had to be filed by Thursday at 5 p.m. And this form, they wouldn't let me email it. It had to be handed in person in Boston. Didn't have to be me. It had to be this paper that I signed. So it couldn't be a copy. It couldn't be an email.
Had to be original.
It had to be the original. So, which I don't know. In today's day and age, you can be in Japan, buy a house over here, and the state and never, all the paperwork can be done online. So it seems a little crazy. Anyway.
So right now, you're in a position of a candidate as a write-in for the state representative
For the rep for this
position.
area, yeah.
So why did you run at all?
There's so many things coming at all of us as people, parents, residents. It's out of control, and I don't want to be a politician. However, somebody needed to stand up, and Ms. Kearns was going to run unopposed. No choice. Nobody has a choice. I thought, I should do this. I should stand up, get involved. I'm a worker. I think I can be effective. Over the last 35 years, having my own business, certainly have budgets every single day that you have to make. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to make the budget work. So I think with that in mind, I can work with that. I don't like waste. When we do a project, we don't waste lumber. We don't waste anything. It's too expensive, and so seeing the kind of waste that goes on with the way the government handles things is atrocious. I just feel that I can be effective to do this and to bring some common sense back to what we don't have anymore.
It seems like all of the legislative actions, which is both the House of Representatives and the Senate, all actions are done in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
where I think a lot of people have just like this bill that just got passed. It was done in the middle of the night.
Yes, it was.
And the thing is that we don't know the details and is being rushed through. So what would you do different right now?
If I was to get this job,
Yeah.
I would make it clear by setting up some kind of a website. I'm horrible with computers, but I'd set up some kind of a website where everybody in this precinct can be on it. And while I show up every day to do this job, you can hear directly from me, from us, what's being talked about up on Beacon Hill. And that way, the townspeople can help. We can get this done all together. This middle of the night thing, what is that? Why would you do that? I spoke to another rep in the North Shore area, and he told me that more often than not, a lot of the reps don't even show up. They don't show up for the votes. The place is empty, and that seems pretty bad. I don't understand how you can have this job. This is a serve the public. You know, I had another job. You serve the public. It's just what you're here to do. And I don't want my kids and I don't want my grandkids to have to go through some different America that, we grew up in this America that the land of hopes and dreams. If you work hard, you can be whatever you want. And
Make it happen. Right.
Why can't, the future kids do this? They should be able to.
Well, the process right now for you is that you're going to have a write-in campaign
Yes.
where you have developed stickers that go on the ballot.
Yes.
And the one thing that we have to make sure is that when the ballot is filled in, the sticker is put on and the little oval is filled in
Right.
very dark.
Right. It's very specific.
Right.
Very specific.
So tell us what the sticker says.
So the sticker says my name. It says my address, including the town Danvers, Mass. And it has to fit in that little 1/4-inch space, which is hard to write that. So we did the stickers hoping that it would make that easier for people. But you still do have to color in that little oval, and or it won't be counted. It's that specific.
Okay, then let me ask a question, if I may. Your candidacy has come out from a reaction to a non-contended race that Sally has, as a Democrat,
Yeah.
has been involved in, and she got elected 4 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
And she was elected back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I remember her when I was on the Board of Selectmen. She was involved in the state house. One thing that sort of burns a lot of people is that they make this job as a state representative or state senator as a career.
Right.
And
Exactly.
one of the things that I like to ask is, how would you handle this job?
I absolutely believe in term limits. Nobody should be in this job for decades. This is where we get all the criminal activity that's going on, the waste, people making the deals. So no, I think 2, 3 terms, whatever, a couple of being there, and then let somebody else get in. And there's a bunch of state jobs that need to have term limits. Shouldn't have a lifelong job where
It's a career.
yeah, where you can then manipulate the system, which is what's been happening.
Okay, so if you're elected, you would stay on for 2 or 3 terms, which is 2 years
Yeah,
each.
I would. Let's do the first 2 years. If people think I'm doing the right thing, and if I'm working hard enough and we're getting things done, then the people will decide. They'll put me in again, and that's it. It's that simple. I want to just help. I'm just here to help because something has to be done. Things are tanking out, and we live in the best country in the world.
Well, let me ask another dumb question. What have you done for Danvers and the district lately? That's going to be the question that the electorate would like to hear of. How have you been involved in the recent past?
Yeah, yeah.
because the name Bean has been around for a long time. There's different beans.
Yes, there is, yeah.
And the question is always going to be, what have you done for us lately?
Yeah, right. You know, I started getting involved in the politics, real life politics, just over a year ago. You know, you start to wake up to what's actually going on, and so I've been involved in that. I was a delegate. I went to the convention out in Springfield. We voted for the people that are up, that the GOP supports for the state, for the positions that you had talked about earlier, governor and lieutenant governor, et cetera. As far as what have I done, I am around town. I help anybody I can all the time. You know, it might be one person here, one person there. That's just how we operate. You know, me, my wife, you know, my kids, the same thing. You know, we just regular people. We just work, and regular people. If somebody needs something, we try to help out, whatever we can do.
Okay.
I
Damien?
just want to interject something. Your service as a police officer, Mike is a former police officer for the city of the town of Danvers here. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because that is a tremendous privilege and
It's a position of responsibility.
and it's an amazing service that you've had. And I just would like you to tell me about it. How about that?
Okay. So I was on the police department for 22 years. It's an interesting job. It has all the best things in the world happening, and all the worst. Yeah. However, working in Danvers is, you know, I'm have to believe it's much nicer than working in the city of Boston, you know, New York, LA, because you work in the town you live in, and so there's a lot of, you know, good people, and people like want you to do your job, you know, keep things in order. So they had a lot of rewarding things going on. So I liked doing that job. It was good. I did leave after 22 years, and you know, there was some politics going on there that just, you know, it couldn't be dealt with. So I had to move on. But the job itself is a great job. I think the police need support. I think we need to go back to when. After 9/11, people were waving and they were saying hi, and they were coming over and giving you a hug and all this stuff, and that faded away. And you know, when you go to these terrible calls, you know, bad car accident where there's somebody's passed away, terrible domestic where somebody's been injured, people that are supposed to love each other, whatnot, it takes a toll on you as a person. But when the public responds and says, hey, you know, thank you for doing what you're doing, then you kind of fills you back up again, and you say, okay, I'll do it again, you know. So the police are not getting the respect that they should, and not the support, especially in this climate right now. You know, the media and the government seems to dislike our police. But from my conversation with the people in the whole North Shore, people like the police. They're happy to see them come down their street, and they're happy that they're out there. And who do you call when something bad happens and total strangers show up to help you? It's the police, the fire departments, you know.
So your view of Danvers and your district is not just as a person or a business owner that's looking at your business, but you're somebody who was part of the system to provide that service to people. So you've seen a change, and is that one of the things that are driving you? I don't mean to ask questions. I'm sorry.
No,
you're doing fine.
Glad you are. You know, yeah, there's a change. You know, there's a change. I think that everybody.
Just you interest me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just think that, you know, it comes down to you know, everybody has to be politically correct about everything. So everybody has hurt feelings about whatever. He looked at me the wrong way. You know, it's like, you know, we gotta have some common sense again, you know.
But your attribute to that position of state representative is really relying on your past experience and direct contact with the population of Danvers and the surrounding communities, because they work together.
That's right.
Now, has been an effort in many towns and communities to defund the police and defund the bail and everything else that's going on, but our police department has stayed stable. Now, as a matter of last selectmen's meeting, Mark, what's his last name? He's a union representative of the DPW, and he basically said that there's been such a transition in our town that many, many people have left and will never return to those jobs because they have, relied on the community to support them, and that's not happening anymore. The White House is directing a lot of activities in our employees, and we need to change that. And maybe one of the attributes from your past will help change that through the legislature.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's exactly true, yes.
So we wish you luck, and remember the sign. You're going to have signs at the
we'll have a
polling
lot of signs
places,
up, yeah.
and there's a sticker, and fill in the oval.
Yes, sticker in that little spot, fill in the oval. It's specific. It could be tossed out if not.
All right. To give equal time to Sally Kearns, I have contacted her at one of the meetings that we've had and asked her to come on the show, and she said yes, but I haven't heard a peep out of either Senator Lovely or Sally Kearns. So we'll just proceed as we move on. The next item on the agenda here is the ballot questions. Tony, you have some interest in some of the ballot questions, and what I'm going to do is I'd like to go through ballot question number 1. This is proposed amendments to the Constitution, additional tax on income over $1 million. The one thing that they don't tell you, if we move on to the questions, that would be great, guys. Do you approve of the adoption of an amendment? This is an amendment to the Constitution.
Right.
So it's permanent.
Right.
It's not going to be changed. And I've received much information on the amendment because people are afraid that 1 million is not the right number that they should be going for. And why are they going for tax revenue when they're returning funds right now and the legislature is part of this problem?
Right.
So this is where you two will come in and stop this abuse of our tax revenues that we're collecting. Tony.
It's confusing the way that is, though. I mean, I don't know. They always do these things to us, okay? It makes you really want to think. You got to read it. I mean, sometimes you say yes, and it's the wrong thing. It's supposed to be no. You know what I mean? It gets
This
crazy.
amendment and this proposal has been tried 5 other times.
Oh, really?
What I've been told.
Yeah, that's right.
And the problem is that it's been defeated every time, but it was defeated in the legislature. Now it's coming
To a vote.
being passed by the legislature, and it's coming to the general population to vote on. And I will tell you one thing. This question, the proposed constitutional amendment would establish an additional 4% tax on income on that portion of annual taxable income in excess of $1 million. This income level would be adjusted annually. So they're already preparing us for increases as they go along, just like the federal government.
Goes from 1,900,000, 800,000. It's just
Right.
going to keep adjusting every year.
Absolutely.
So I would suggest, and I'd like to have your comments, Tony, I have my answer to this question, and I've already presented it before, but go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Give me your answer. What's your answer?
No,
Okay.
that's the answer. And the state
Good
legislature
You sure if you
is,
say yes doesn't reverse it?
no, the state
way they-
legislature has no business in picking our pockets while they're giving back money that they have accumulated over the years.
It's a big mess. I mean, really, it's hard to explain. It's hard to live today. That's the sad part. It really is. I mean, not to be funny, but it really is. I mean, I don't know. I'm blessed in a way because I'm lucky. I mean, I did work hard to put a little bit away and have some real estate, so that helps out a lot. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to really survive. I'm being honest with you. I mean,
Damien, in this current state legislature, this has been passed.
It has.
And it has been passed with a override by the governor because the governor didn't like it. And it was passed again with his override being overridden. What would you do?
Well, I would not. I'd say no to this bill, and there's several reasons for that. First of all, it adds the 4.5% onto your regular income. But what is your regular income? When you sell your house,
that's what I was getting at.
when you
A
sell
lot of
your
times
house, you're going to have to pay this extra percentage of money onto it. When you pass away and you give your kids your home,
That's what I was
they
wondering.
sell that, they're going to have to pay this money. They are literally picking your pockets in life, in death, and in business. Mike here said that he's a business owner. It is going to drive his cost up, and Mike's not going to pay it. The consumer's going to have to pay it, right, Mike? I mean, but it's not
when
going to
he
be.
sells, but when he sells his business,
He's going to have to pay.
he's going to pay through the nose.
They're
again.
going to grab it.
So the
no.
answer is no. Mike,
Right.
what
I
about
agree.
you?
Never vote for a tax hike. Never. They have the money. They're just wasting it.
Well, the same thing is happening in the town of Danvers. Every time we go through a tax increase, it's through the real estate tax, and that's being increased all the time. So, the answer to question number one is
No.
No. I'll agree with that
Thumbs
one.
down.
Question number two, law proposed by initiative petition, and this is regulation of dental insurance. Do you approve of this law and the way it's posed? It is frivolous for one thing, and the government does not have any business in regulating private
Right.
businesses.
Right.
So, Tony,
What's
what
this
do you-
mean? I don't know. I don't. What's the? I
This
don't know.
is the dental insurance.
dental insurance.
They
okay.
want to spend. They want the insurance companies to spend 83% of the insurance revenue that the companies collect, and they only allow 17% for profit and operation of the business. And why are we getting involved in private sector in our dental offices?
That's another mess. I mean, you have to have well, like I have dental insurance, but the dental insurance doesn't cover anything. But what it does is give you a break from the dentist if you need something. That's basically it. I mean, it might cover I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, they want the legislature or somebody in the state government to regulate how much money they can spend on you, and then the rest of it is on profit and operations of the business.
I'd have to say there's a no on this one too.
Stay out of it, right?
Because
I don't know.
ultimately our rates will go up.
Absolutely.
That's what it translates to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's almost
Now-
like you pay insurance to have no insurance.
Yeah.
This again goes back to both of you, Damien and Michael. What business does the legislature have in doing these kinds of regulations that they want to impose on private business? Is this big government sticking their finger into the pie?
You go first.
Well, I'll be simple. No, it's going to translate to us paying higher rates. That's always the way we're the people with the money. We pay our bills. They take it. This is unnecessary. We need to stay away from it.
I also will say no to this. What's going to happen is we're going to have increases in our premiums. Delta Dental has already issued a statement saying that they will be leaving the state if this bill goes through. So if you carry Delta Dental and as your dental insurance, you'll be losing that because they are moving out of state. So say no to number 2.
Okay, so the unanimous answer is
No.
no. Okay, third question.
I'm glad now at least I understand it.
Well, you know what? It is written in such a way.
Well, that's what they do with these things. I mean, you read them and you
We're
start
here to
scratching your head.
educate.
I mean, in a
That's
way.
right.
I mean, it's
So,
sad.
question number 3,
We have
which
question
is
number 3
a
too.
initiative petition again
Oh, wow.
This is an easy one.
Okay.
to expand the availability of licenses, liquor licenses, for the sale of alcoholic beverages. This proposed law would increase the statewide limits on the combined number of licenses for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises, including consumption, and for wines and malt beverages, that any one retailer could own or control from 9 to 12 licenses in 2023, 15 licenses in 2027, and 18 licenses in 2031. Right now, and I'll give you an example, the town of Danvers
Yes.
has 12 or more licenses sitting on somebody's
do.
desk because they went to the legislature and obtained those licenses, I guess, from the alcohol and
And by doing that,
Commission.
they kill what the license is worth.
And that's
liquor
right.
It's not worth anything anymore.
So this is mainly for the grocery stores. And they've already got their licenses. It's the matter of enough is enough, guys. If you want an extra license, go and petition it through the town that you operate in, and they will get you that license. Danvers already has 12 sitting there on somebody's desk doing nothing, and those licenses are worth $2,000 to $3,000 per year.
Yeah, back then it was $250,000 for a liquor license.
Yeah.
That's what they went for.
Yeah.
A lot of them sold them PBT for $130. I mean, they were worth a lot of money. Today, not really. I mean, there's
That's
no
right.
question
Well,
about
they destroyed that.
it. Exactly.
So the business people need to stand up and say enough is enough.
You know something? I don't even want to be in business today. I'm glad that I'm out of business.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true.
So the uniform answer to this question is
No.
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 All right. So now we're down to question number 4, which is a question that all of us have
Is that a
been.
yes?
No.
No.
I don't know. Just wondering.
The
No, it
Jump
is
When
not.
they
across
throw
this
them in, you know
table.
how it is.
because this petition was, I'm going back to the red colored brochure that the Secretary of State issued in regard to the explanation of the questions, and this question was missing.
Right. That's right.
Because this petition was submitted after July 2022 deadline for inclusion in the printed information. The voter's booklet, the question is, do you approve of a law summarized below? This law allows Massachusetts residents who cannot provide proof of lawful presence in the United States, illegal aliens,
That's right.
to obtain a standard driver's license or learner's permit if
okay,
they
that's this one. Got it.
meet all the other
I know.
qualifications. The hook to this thing is that when you go and apply for a license at the registry, you are automatically enrolled in the voting rolls. So this is an issue. The law provides that when processing an application for such a license or learner's permit or motor vehicle registration, registrar or motor vehicles may not ask about or create a record of the citizenship of the immigration status of the applicant. I mean, what are we doing? Now I understand what has happened during the last 2 years. They've developed 2 levels of license to drive. One is the regular license, and then there's the real license, they call it.
Yep.
Because during the application for the real license or the renewal, you are required to provide proof of citizenship or your birth certificate from the country that you were in. I had to go through that because I had to produce a birth certificate and my green card that I had at that time.
I just went through that now, just recently.
Yes.
This year I did it.
And the thing is,
Even that's a nightmare, because my
Well-
wife went and she didn't have the long form on the. Didn't get it. I mean, really.
that's right.
It's to make it-
So, the answer to this question again is no.
This one's definitely
Can
no.
I make a comment?
Absolutely.
My interpretation of this one is it circumvents our immigration laws.
Right.
Because there's no way that anybody is going to be able to check once they have a mass license with the stamp on it. No one's going to check that person. So they're essentially a citizen.
Right.
And they're going to be able to get all the benefits and whatnot. So this is just going around the law. And it's not going to do anything but increase our accidents on the road and our insurance rates.
Oh, I don't understand these police chiefs and these police officers that are on advertising that it's going to solve all these issues.
However, if you look at the commercial, you'll see that some of the people standing there have no badge or patch on that shirt. And the police vehicle in the back has no town or city on it. So it's a movie prop. There's no way of knowing who that person is.
You know how bad it is? It's sad. It's very sad today.
Damon?
So this is the most dangerous piece of legislation that I have ever seen in my lifetime. What happens in communities that allow for illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses is there's an increase in fatal car accidents. There's an increase in hit and runs. There's an increase in failure to stop for police officers. And every single state that allowed this to happen has had an increase of 50 to 100% in their auto insurance. So if you're paying $1,000 a year on auto insurance, you can expect yourself to get another $500 to $1,000 increase onto your auto insurance. In regards to the voting, this does allow, what this does is this vote, there's an amendment in this law that stops the registry of motor vehicles from checking the immigration status. And when they ship it off to the clerk in your town or your city, the clerk, by statute, by law that has been passed by both of our opponents, states that the clerk must accept on its face the validity of any information coming from another state agency. So they have to accept that these people are legitimate voter registrations, and they cannot check those to make sure that we can stop people from voting in this community. So this legislation is a slap in the face to everybody here, everybody watching this, everybody across this entire state. It's an insult to our just dignity and our citizenship of America, to be American. It's just, I can't believe this. They're even trying this. So that's my 2 cents on that. I'm sorry.
Well, see, I have made it a point when I had my license renewal, and they asked me whether I want the regular license or real license. I says, what the heck's the difference? So I spoke to the manager in the RMV here in Danvers, and he explained to me that this was 2 years ago. And what happened is I just came in with my passport, my green card, my naturalization papers, and I just laid it out for him. He says, you're okay. So they gave me the regular license, the real license, and all it has on the face of the license is a little symbol that's in gold.
Yep.
And you can't tell the difference. So the answer is no.
No.
Okay? So what I like to do is, Jack, if you can throw up the last clip for the voting, and I think we're going to wrap it up at this stage because I think we've had a lot of explanation. Vote Republican. This has been an issue that's been proposed by the Danvers Republican Committee, and they have placed these signs in various locations. And as you see, we have Bob May for Congress. We have Damian Anketel for the Senate in the state of Massachusetts. We have Rayla, who is running for the Secretary of State position. She is a very outspoken individual, and she has every answer that you can ask for. I can't read the other ones.
Amore.
Deal and Amore.
Yeah, McMahon.
Deal has got to win this position, because what is going to happen to us is that we're going to get run over by the Democratic Party, and they're going to continue the dictatorship that has been happening even under Baker.
Yeah.
And Baker has not been a very outspoken governor to date, and no wonder he's not running, or he's going into the back room now. So what I like to do is I like to just do a wrap up, because I do want to continue this, but I will do that at the next show, which is words of wisdom that I have developed by Oscar Wilde. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. So we have to earn our education. So what I like to do now is give each of you an opportunity, and Tony, you're here for the next segment of the show, which is really about the Beverly Airport and the school department, because we have spoken about that many times. But Damian, last word, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having this event here so we could speak. I'd like to thank Tony for being here. I met Tony over at the Beverly Airport board meeting. And I'd like to thank you all in Danvers for listening to me. And we have a very important vote coming up this week, next week on Tuesday. You do have a choice between keeping what you have and increasing inflation, or somebody who will fight against inflation. If you want somebody who can fight inflation, I'm your person to vote for. If you want somebody who stands against crime, I am a person that will fight against crime. I'm the only person on the ballot who wants to put a life sentence for people who are distributing fentanyl. I want to reverse the legislation that's been put in place that allows for dangerous criminals back out on our street. I am a person who will fight against the Green Initiative programs, which are driving up the cost of our fuel, our gasoline, and our home heating fuel. If you want those things to benefit you, I'm a person to vote for. I will support additional pipelines coming into our community to bring natural gas and home heating oil. And I'll also fight against the Green Initiative programs that will allow for farmers to be able to put fertilizers in the ground that will allow for big crops to grow. I know we only have a minute left, and I want to thank you, and thank you for voting, and I would hope that you would vote for me on Tuesday.
November 8th is Election Day. Michael?
So I'm a write-in candidate. You got to write it in that little spot, fill out that little dot. I'm a hard worker. I'm not going to say anything that I'm not going to do. I'm going to follow through if I take this position, if you want me to. And all the same topics that Damian talked about, we need to just get this country back.
Thank you, gentlemen. And the next show will be on November 10th, which is next Thursday. And it'll be a wrap-up of the elections, and we will try to get into the Beverly Airport, because there'll be a meeting that following week,
14th.
the 14th.
Yeah, the meeting's on 14th.
And we have had communications with the commission for 3 hours at a time. And we need your support as well, both of you. when you get elected, let's come and back us up at Beverly Airport.
All right.
Good night, Danvers. Thank
Question
you.
about-